What's going on, everybody, and welcome to NFL Nexus. You know, every single NFL offseason is its own universe of challenges. It's this high-stakes puzzle where literally every single piece matters, from giant contracts down to the quiet, personal decisions of veteran players. And for the Los Angeles Rams, this year is absolutely no different. Today, we're diving deep on them because they are standing at a really fascinating crossroads. Their entire 2026 season could very well be defined by two huge, almost opposite storylines. One major question at a critical position and one powerful, definitive answer at another.
At the heart of what we're breaking down today is this story of, well, duality. It's a tale of two very different pillars for this Rams team. On one side, you've got this looming question mark at the most important position on the field, the quarterback. And it involves a respected vet, whispers of retirement, and, the kind of scary situation of what your depth chart looks like if he decides to walk away. But then, on the other side, you have an undeniable, absolute answer, a force of stability and pure superstardom, a record-breaking wide receiver whose health and performance provide this unshakable foundation for the whole offense. It's that classic NFL dynamic, right? It's risk versus reliability.
So here's the game plan for today. We're going to start by really framing this crucial offseason crossroads for the Rams. Then we'll dive right into that Garoppolo question and the potential quarterback problem it creates. From there, we'll break down how head coach Sean McVay is handling it with his, patient and strategic response. After that, we get to pivot to the bright side, the definitive Puka Nacua answer and what his presence really means. And finally, we'll look ahead. What's next for LA, and what's the ultimate question this whole situation poses for their championship dreams? Okay, let's get into it because this is where the main off-season drama for the Rams really kicks off. And look, it's not about their star starter, Matthew Stafford. His spot is locked down, solid as a rock. The real intrigue, the real question, is about the guy right behind him. We're talking about the potential for a pretty big hole to open up at backup quarterback, which is a spot that every Super Bowl contender knows can be that hidden variable that makes or breaks an entire season. So here it is, the core of the problem. The guy the Rams brought in to be that experienced insurance policy behind Stafford, Jimmy Garoppolo, is reportedly thinking about retirement. I mean, he's 34 years old, he's had a long career with some unbelievable highs, like, starting in a Super Bowl, and some really punishing lows with injuries. So he's taking his time to decide if he wants to hang up the cleats for good. And this isn't just some minor roster note, It's a decision that sends some pretty big ripples through the team's entire plan for the upcoming season. Now, for anyone out there who might think the backup QB is just a guy holding a clipboard, let's be crystal clear. This role is absolutely vital. Think of it like the ultimate insurance policy for a $100 million offense. We've seen it happen time and time again in this league, right? A team looks like a world beater, then one awkward hit, one unlucky play, and the starting quarterback is out. The backup has to be ready to step in, command the huddle, run the offense under crazy pressure, and just keep the team's hopes alive. A weak link right here can completely derail a promising season in the blink of an eye.
And just look at this. This slide tells the whole story, doesn't it? It's such a stark visual. On the left, you see the plan, the structure that lets a coaching staff sleep at night. You've got a Super Bowl winner in Stafford, backed up by a guy in Garoppolo who has started 63 games in his career and has been to a Super Bowl himself. That depth chart just screams experience and stability. But now, look at the right. If Garoppolo leaves, the whole picture changes dramatically. Stetson Bennett 4 moves up, and he's a player with almost no professional experience. The drop-off in terms of seasoned, in-game leadership is just massive. It's immediately obvious how big of a deal this is.
So the key here is to understand what Garoppolo's real value was to this team, especially last season. Because if you just glance at a stat sheet, you're going to miss it entirely. He was in only 3 games, didn't record a single meaningful stat in 2025. But his contribution wasn't measured in yards or touchdowns. It was measured in presence. After 2 seasons with the team, he was at veteran mind in the quarterback room. He had a deep familiarity with Sean McVay's super complex system, and he was a steady hand that the coaches and Stafford could rely on. That's the intangible stuff, the value that just vanishes if he decides to retire.
And this is the reality the Rams would be staring at. Their next man up becomes Stetson Bennett. And yeah, he's a 2-time national champion from his days at Georgia, and he's been with the team for his whole 3-year career, but almost all of that time has been on the practice squad. And listen, there is a galaxy of difference between taking practice reps against your own defense and stepping onto the field on a Sunday with 70,000 screaming fans, a defense trying to take your head off, and the game clock ticking down. Relying on a player with that little real NFL game action is a huge gamble for a team with serious playoff ambitions. So, with all this uncertainty swirling around, how is the team's leadership handling it?
Well, the focus naturally turns to head coach Sean McVay, and his public comments give us a really clear window into their strategy. They aren't panicking, they aren't scrambling around, no, they are playing the long game, showing this calculated and, frankly, respectful patience.
And this quote right here, this is the absolute essence of McVay's whole approach. You leave the door open. You don't want to press. This isn't a coach giving an ultimatum or creating some frantic deadline. It's a calm, confident, and strategic position to take. It signals a ton of respect for the player and his personal decision-making process, while also, quietly but clearly saying what the team wants. In a league that's so often defined by pressure tactics, this is just a masterclass in modern player management.
The message from the organization could not be clearer. They want Jimmy Garoppolo back. They value his experience, his knowledge of the offense, and the stability he brings to that incredibly important quarterback room. But they also get the gravity of a retirement decision. They know it's not just about football. It's about family, it's about health, it's about what comes next after the game. So they're giving him the time and space he needs, and that's a move that fosters goodwill and keeps that door open for his return way longer than a more aggressive approach ever could.
And this just hammers the point home. It shows the foundation of their entire approach: clear, direct communication. There's no ambiguity, no trying to read between the lines. Garoppolo knows exactly where the Rams stand. The team has laid their cards out on the table. That transparency takes away any guesswork and puts the power squarely in the players' hands. McVay is basically saying, hey, the job is here for you, we want you, now you got to make the choice that's best for you. The ball is without a doubt in Jimmy G's court.
All right, let's pivot. We have spent a lot of time on the big question mark hanging over the team. So now let's shift our focus from that uncertainty to the most definitive, explosive, and reassuring part of the Rams' entire organization, the superstar wide receiver Puka Nacua. While one door might be closing, this one is wide open and just blowing the hinges off. He is the answer to so many of this team's questions.
Let's just start with this number, 1,715. Let that sink in for a second. That is the number of receiving yards Puka Nacua piled up last season. Now that figure wasn't just good, it wasn't just Pro Bowl caliber, it led the entire National Football League. In a league that is full of absolute legends at receiver, a third-year player from the Los Angeles Rams stood all by himself at the very top of the mountain. That one number tells you everything you need to know about the kind of weapon we're talking about here.
And it wasn't just about the huge, explosive plays downfield either. He was also the most reliable, high-volume target in the entire game. 129. That's how many passes he caught, another stat that led the whole league. This lethal combination of just sheer volume and massive yardage establishes him not just as a star, but as the true engine of the Rams' passing attack. When Matthew Stafford needed a crucial first down, number 17 was the answer, time and time and time again.
And to really get a grip on just how fast his rise to superstardom has been, look at this. Over 4,000. In just 3 short seasons in the NFL, Nacua has already blown past the 4,000 receiving yard mark. That is an absolutely insane pace. It's a testament to his immediate and sustained impact from the very first moment he stepped on a professional field. This isn't some slow burn or a gradual development. This is a rocket ship to the absolute top tier of NFL superstars.
This timeline really puts his incredible journey into perspective. I mean, in 2023, he wasn't just a good rookie. He was a full-blown phenomenon, shattering rookie records that had stood for ages. With 105 catches and almost 1,500 yards, he blew all expectations out of the water. Then, instead of just leveling off, he follows it up in 2025 by becoming the undisputed king, leading the league in the 2 major receiving categories and earning that prestigious first-team All-Pro honor. And now, going into 2026, at just 24 years old, he's the undisputed centerpiece of the offense. And he's heading into a massive, franchise-altering contract year. The stakes could not possibly be higher.
And what's just so impressive, as you can see from this table, is that he completely defied that whole sophomore slump idea that catches so many talented young players. He didn't just maintain his incredible rookie numbers, he built on them in a big way. He increased his catches by more than 20, he added over 200 more receiving yards, and he's now got 19 career touchdowns in just 3 years. This isn't just consistency, folks. This is real, tangible, year-over-year improvement. And that is a truly scary thought for every single defensive coordinator who has to try and game plan against the sky.
But, and you knew there had to be a but coming, all of this elite production, all of this stability provides, it's all based on one critical thing: his health. After the unbelievable workload he's carried for this offense these past few seasons, Nacua had a rehab stint this offseason. And naturally, that created some anxiety, among the fan base and in the front office. Would he be ready for camp? Could he get back to that same dominant league-leading form? The availability of the team's offensive centerpiece was the single most important variable heading into this 2026 season.
And here it is, the answer that lets the entire Rams organization and all of its fans just breathe this massive, collective sigh of relief. Sean McVay's simple but incredibly powerful update. He looks great and is doing really well. That's it. That's the confirmation they desperately needed to hear. It signals that their most important offensive weapon is on track, he's feeling good, and he's getting ready to be the same dominant force he's always been. For the Rams, getting this question mark resolved is the single biggest win of their entire offseason, bar none.
So where does all this leave the Rams? We've explored the lingering problem at backup quarterback and the definitive, reassuring resolution with their superstar receiver. So now, let's put these two massive pieces together and analyze the Rams' path forward. How do they navigate this complex landscape of certainty on one hand and uncertainty on the other as they build towards the 2026 season?
This is the big question for General Manager Les Snead and the front office right now. While they are respectfully waiting for Jimmy G's decision, you better believe they have to be preparing for the alternative. With the Puka Nacua side of the equation looking healthy and totally secure, their entire focus can now shift to solving this potential quarterback depth issue. So, what does a plan B actually look like?
Well, the most logical path would be to turn right back to the veteran free agent market. And there are still some pretty interesting names out there who could fit what they're looking for. I mean, each of these guys offers something a little different. You've got a potential high-risk, high-reward gamble in Russell Wilson, who still has elite arm talent. You've got the ultimate professional and steady, low-mistake game manager in Tyrod Taylor. Then you have proven system guys like Cooper Rush, who kept the Cowboys afloat, and Teddy Bridgewater, another respected veteran presence. All of them could immediately provide that experience depth that would vanish if Garoppolo retires, but each one would change the offensive dynamic in their own unique way.
And this brings us to our final, thought-provoking question that really defines the Rams situation this year. We know Puka Nacua is an absolute force of nature. We know that, when healthy, the Stafford-led Rams offense can be one of the most explosive and dangerous in the entire league. But is that enough? In today's offense-driven NFL, can an attack powered by a truly elite weapon like Nacua make up for a potential weakness at the QB2 spot? Or does the timeless, hard-earned wisdom of football still hold true, that no matter how many superstars you have lighting up the scoreboard, your championship hopes are only as strong as your insurance policy at quarterback? That is the high-stakes gamble the Los Angeles Rams are facing this offseason. So, what do you think they should do? Let me know down in the comments. I really want to hear your takes on this one. And hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, do me a huge favor. Hit that like button and subscribe to NFL Nexus so you don't miss our next explainer. Thanks for watching.